Hey guys, Chelsea from Attention to Details, and we are working on this beautiful Lexus IS350. We are getting it ready for a ceramic coating. Let me kind of do a quick walk around while I share with you guys what we've already done and share with you guys the product that we are going to be testing out today for the first time. And I'm really excited about this one. So let's see what we've done. So the Lexus IS350, we did a thorough wash, a chemical decontamination, clay towel treatment. I had to do a heavy polish on it. Even though it's white, you could see there were a lot of deep swirls and scratches on the paint. The customer is actually a detailing enthusiast. When he was talking to me about what he's done on the vehicle, he was telling me he used his Repels polisher, even Griot's correcting cream, the Eurofiber 50/50 pad, and that he was getting decent correction with that, but that he was finding the paint to be on the hard side. And the Lexuses that I had worked on in the past were kind of medium. This was the first time that it was really, I found, very hard. Using what the customer had actually said as a point of reference, I ended up landing with the Eurofiber 50/50. I tried a couple different options when it came to pads and polishes, from Griot's correcting cream, even fast correcting cream, even the last cut, compounding glaze, and actually landed on Detail Addict's Platinum Hybrid Polish. This did a fantastic job of quickly cutting through the defects, but finishing down really well on this white paint using the Eurofiber 50/50. So for those of you that are looking for a point of reference for maybe you're working on a Lexus in the future, that is has a lot of deeper scratches, this gave me a good amount of correction and finished down really well. You can see we got probably, I'd say, 85 to 90% correction using this one-step product. So hopefully that can help some of you guys out. Now, we've done our panel wipe using IGL Pre-Coat. Now we are ready to move on to our coating. So the coating we're going to be using today is the metal oxide coating from Apex Surface Protection. Now you can see on the bottle that this is a professional use only product. You do need to be certified to have access to it. The certification process is extremely easy. You can either go in person to see Brian Spittler, which I was fortunate enough to be able to do a few weeks back, or you can do even a virtual training with him just to make sure you are familiar with proper prep for a coating and then the application just for quality control purposes, which I think is fantastic. This was actually manufactured by Art to Shine for Brian Spittler. He had used the ceramic metal oxide coating in the past. There were certain things within the formula he absolutely loved, but certain things that he wanted to tweak, and that is where this bottle came to be. Now this is a single layer 2 to 3 year coating based on how you maintain it, also kind of the environment that it is exposed to. Now, what makes a metal oxide coating advantageous versus other coatings that are on the market, and it can be overwhelming when there's graphene, titanium, ceramic, silica carbide, ATO especially. What makes one better over the other? Well, ATO is going to give you a lot of chemical resistance. It's also going to help prevent water spots. It also, this formula here has high UVA, UVB, and IR protection within it. So for those of you that maybe you have a vehicle that is left out, exposed to the elements, or maybe you live in a southern state that is exposed to harsh UV rays more year-round than maybe we have here in Pennsylvania, this is going to be a very durable product for you to use. Now, this has a very quick flash time. It can be a little grabby, so I'm going to share with you guys how to apply this product and the end result that you can expect. Now, another thing to note with this coating, you can actually choose how you want the water behavior to be after you've applied the coating. Brian's come up with, and I don't have it on screen, but he's come up with Hydra or Rehydra bead and Rehydra sheet. Now this is a sheeting sealant. He also has a beading sealant that you apply. You can do this straight up or even cut 1-to-1 if you find you're having some streaks. But 4 hours after applying the metal oxide coating, you then come in with your Rehydra sheet or Rehydra bead, mist it onto a damp microfiber. I'll show you guys how to do that. Mist it on, buff it off, and you can actually tailor the hydrophobics for the coating with this sort of product. Now, the customer chose a sheeting sealant because he wants the sheeting characteristics versus beading. So we have an eye drop here to apply our coating. We have our auto fiber suede applicators ready to go. We're going to glove up and get this baby protected.
Because coating a white vehicle can be extremely hard sometimes to see the coating, especially even if there is a rainbowing effect, but there's not much of a rainbowing effect to this coating, and Brian recommends do not lift your microfiber as much as possible. Try to just do one fluid motion. Because this cures and bonds so quickly, you really don't need to do a cross hatch back and forth up and down pattern. Just make sure you have even application. Because I had high humidity, it was flashing a lot faster, so we waited about 45 seconds after applying and then buffed off. Alright, so you can see that I have my lights actually shining up to the ceiling. My ceiling is lighter in color. Because this is a white vehicle, it's going to be really hard to see the coating. This is not the type of coating that has a lot of rainbowing or sweating within it, and honestly it flashes rather quickly. The one thing that Brian told me, when you apply it, you don't need to do the crosshatch pattern that is typical with a lot of coatings. And I found myself when I was doing the coating, my routine is that I normally outline and then fill in, and he said try to keep moving in one fluid motion, don't pick it up, as that will help prevent high spots or streaking. And so I kind of have to relearn how I apply coatings with this product. But because it has a faster bonding time, because it has such a high amount of coating within it, or as far as ATO, the ceramic coating, etc., it flashes rather quickly. On average, it's 1.5 to 2 minutes. When I met with him for his training session, by the time he was done applying it and grabbed his microfibers, he was pretty much ready to buff it off. So I even found, after you're done applying your 2x2 section, by the time you grab your stuff, maybe give it 15-20 seconds, you're ready to go. It can be a little grabby, but it's not tedious by any means. So I just wanted to kind of point out those few things for those of you that maybe you're working on a lighter vehicle. I'm going to try to move my camera over to a point where you can see the coating being applied, but unfortunately this is not one of those colors that's very easy to show the coating, and this isn't a huge rainbowing product, but I will kind of zoom in, show you that process as we apply it. Hopefully you can see it a little bit better. You can just see very lightly where I applied it. The diffuse lighting greatly helps. I'm going to come in here and just wipe over. That kind of helps give us a little bit more evenness, and then buff off. And just like that, we've removed it. You can feel a difference from where you haven't applied to where you have applied, as far as for stopping and starting, but don't be nervous about overlapping if you have to. So again, we're making use of that diffuse lighting, and a tip, if you don't have a light colored ceiling, you can use even like a sheet, an old shower curtain liner, anything white and bright, even an old box or sheet of drywall. You can just kind of bounce the light off of that, but there are options to buy online as well if you want to invest in that. I'm going to share with you guys my learning process with this. I was putting like 3 or 4 stripes on the pad at a time, and I found that if I didn't use a minimum of that, I was having a really hard time seeing the coating and also removing it. You don't have to skimp with this product, but I did find that if I went maybe 4 or 5 stripes with the eyedropper, that it was a lot easier to see and a lot easier to remove. The only thing I wish were different, specifically because I'm working on a white vehicle, was that there was a little bit more differentiation
between maybe flashing, etc., or rainbowing. But at this point, it almost becomes muscle memory. You have to be very aware where you have coated. Just pay close attention, slow and methodical as you apply. You can also use touch because you're going to feel a difference in where you have coated versus haven't coated. Let's stop halfway, so we're going to go a little beyond. I've seen some detailers are actually using light boxes for coatings, and that is one thing, especially if you work on a lot of white vehicles or maybe you have a white vehicle. But some options, if you don't want to go that route or maybe you don't have a light colored garage, is to get a white sheet and to shine the light onto the white sheet and then work with that. That's kind of a cheap workaround. I actually have used a piece of drywall before that was in the garage of a customer's house one time. Use what you got. But as long as it's white and it's solid, you can shine your light onto it. That will give you that diffuse lighting. But another way, like I said, shine your light up for your vertical surfaces, and then when we get to our side panels, that's where we'll shine a light onto a surface to be able to see a little bit better. But for the most part, as I'm working in my garage, you can see I have all of my overhead lights off. I'm just working with that one light shining up and away from the surface to be able to see the coating. But we're moving pretty quickly. That took me 15 minutes for me to do the 3 larger pieces on this vehicle. Because it flashes so quickly, essentially you can just kind of work one section at a time, wait a few seconds, come in. It is 70 degrees outside. It's about 75% humidity, so it is higher humidity. If you're working in a temperature controlled room, like a cooled garage that has lower humidity, you could probably let that sit maybe minute and a half. But even Brian was working in his air conditioning garage, and I noticed he didn't let it sit too terribly long. This flashes so quickly and bonds so quickly that as long as you give it those few seconds from start to stop, grabbing your microfibers and then buffing off, you should be good to go. If you find that it is very, very grabby when you go to remove it, then just cut back the amount of time that you let it sit on, because obviously your environmental factors are affecting the flash time, and you might want to just shorten it so that it's not quite so difficult. But it is going to be a little grabby. Just for a heads up, that doesn't mean it's been sitting on there for too long, but it shouldn't be to the point where you can't remove it. If you find that there's too much coating sitting on the panel and you can't get it off, you might have to go back over it with fresh solution to kind of reactivate it and then buff off immediately. But we're going to keep moving on this. Here's just a quick example of a way to use what you have. This was just a white box laying around because I had so much stuff around the perimeter of my garage, thanks to my kids. But it was really hard for me to get a white surface, and so I just found a white box laying around and was able to shine the light on that. And then if you kind of step back from an angle, that allows you to see the coating a little bit better. But again, there are things that you can purchase to be able to see the coating better, but for those on a limited budget, you can work with what you have. All right, guys, we are all done applying our Apex ceramic metal coating. We've got fantastic gloss and shine on this vehicle. It looks fantastic. There was a little bit of a learning curve with this product, as there are with most. I did find that when I started using this product and was applying it, one, I'm not used to using an eyedropper to apply coating to an applicator, so I had to figure out how much to use. I was using too little at the beginning. I did go back over some panels thicker, just to make sure that I had enough to spread out. The diffuse lighting greatly helps with seeing, and I think on darker vehicles where we won't have any sort of issue knowing how much product to use because it was very hard to see the product as we were laying it down. But I did find that with the eyedrop vial that I was needing to put like 3 or 4 lines of product on there, and then that would allow me to have enough to spread to work, let's say maybe a half of a door panel like I normally do. And then I was able to reapply fresh product, do the remainder of the door panel, and then come back and level the first half and then move forward that way. So essentially I was able to do a panel at a time, was able to work my way around rather quickly. I did have a lot of interruptions, that's why it took a little bit longer. But all in all, our trim pieces look fantastic. You can see we even have like a metallic trim here. That turned out beautifully. We've got really, really killer gloss and shine. I went about through half of the bottle. So I was using it pretty lightly at the beginning, but then as I worked my way around the vehicle was going a little bit heavier. In 4 hours, we'll come back with our rehydra sheet and we will set the hydrophobics to sheeting. And then tomorrow what we'll do is we will bring it out into the daylight, inspect for high spots. Hopefully we don't. And we'll show you the absolute finished look out in daylight. So the minimum wait time before you can apply your sheeting or beading sealant is 4 hours. I waited till the next morning, and we have a damp microfiber here. You can see I didn't squeeze out all the moisture. We have a dry microfiber, plush one, and we are going to apply our sealant. Now there's a trick to applying this to the microfiber to prevent any sort of streaking. Prime your pump first, but then you just kind of mist it on. You don't want to spray directly into it. If you find that you have streaking with this product, you can cut it back 1 to 1. But you can see I'm very quickly going to apply this to the vehicle. It took under 10 minutes. You can do your glass, your wheel faces, your trim, your paint, etc. You can use this as a standalone product. It may give you 2 to 3 months of protection. It's not meant to be a standalone product, though. This is meant to be a maintenance topper for the coatings to kind of set the hydrophobics and increase gloss and slickness. I actually liked it using it the morning after because most coatings are going to get a little light layer of dust on the vehicle as it sits in the garage overnight. I was able to do kind of a quick wipe down safely, but enhance the gloss and shine and dial in the hydrophobics. So this is a fantastic product to maintain this coating with. You can see here, I'm going to quickly wipe over, and we have almost instant beads on our coating. So you can see it's already bonded, it's already doing what it's supposed to do, but now we've kind of helped tailor those hydrophobics. All right, guys, we are all done applying our rehydra sheet topper to the coating. Let's take a look at the finished look. It is extremely hard to make white paint pop. And this coating and the sheeting sealant did a fantastic job of just giving us a wet look to this vehicle. I think the customer is going to be extremely pleased with the outcome. I know I am. Did it have its learning curve? Yes, every coating does. I think once you get the hang of how much product to use on a pad, flash time, etc., it will be an extremely easy coating to apply. The end look, honestly, was well worth any sort of learning curve. So, Brian, fantastic products. I can already see the durability. When I was applying the rehydra sheet, you could almost immediately see that damp towel and the sealant were beading on the surface. So you know it's got insane hydrophobics. I just wish that I could hose this thing down to take a look, but hopefully the customer will bring it back in a few months for us to do a maintenance on it, and we can share that update with you guys. But fantastic products coming out from Apex Surface Protection. For those of you looking for a professional use system to use in your shop, I highly encourage you guys to check this stuff out. The realistic 2 to 3 year option, I think, is what a majority of daily drivers are looking for, and the fact that the bottle is so affordable and you can get so many vehicles out of one bottle. I mean, Brian said you could get 3 to 4 sedan-sized vehicles out of one bottle. So for those of you looking for a professional use product to use in your shop, I encourage you guys check out Apex Surface Protection. I'll put the links for these products down below for those of you that may want to check them out for yourself. And if you want to become certified, reach out to Brian. I'm sure he would love to have more on his team. So, all right, guys, we're gonna call this one a day. We're going to get ready for the next vehicle. We got one waiting right behind it, so there's no rest for the weary. But thank you guys for watching and tuning in. We'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day. Be blessed, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.